Yo, what is up, YouTube? I'm excited for today. What we're going to be going over today is lead generation. It was brought to my attention not too long ago, probably about a week ago, that some people just need this stuff brought back to the basics. And I think I failed to realize that it's actually really simple, but it can be tough in the beginning to wrap your brain around it. So I'm going to go over today how we get the majority of our deals done and where the majority of our leads come from. This is actually how I got my very first deal and how we still consistently do deals on a weekly basis up to this point. So, why are leads important? Leads are important because if you don't have any leads and you don't have a business, this doesn't matter if this is a real estate business, if this is a painting business, if this is a dumpster business, like you need leads. So with that being said, I'm going to go over exactly how we generate leads in our real estate business and how we get the majority of our deals done. So let me pull up the whiteboard really quick. So first off, we should probably go over what is a lead. A lead in real estate is somebody that has raised their hand and said, "Hey, I would sell my property. I would be interested in having a conversation of an offer, or for some sort of reason, I'd want to sell my property," right? So we're trying to figure out how do we get all these leads in our pipeline. So what it actually starts with is something called a prospect. Now, it's important to understand the difference between prospects, leads, and deals. Essentially, what a prospect is somebody that you can reach out to that could potentially want to sell their house. Now, if we're thinking about business in general, a prospect could be somebody driving by a McDonald's sign, right? Everybody driving by could potentially be hungry. So all those people driving by are prospects. And the McDonald's sign is McDonald's reaching out to the prospects, right? So in real estate, especially in wholesaling, when we're reaching out directly to a seller, because that's exactly how my business model is. It's direct to seller. Like we're literally going right to the seller and say, "Hey, would you ever sell your property?" So in my business, what we do is we get a name. So this is, let's call it Mike. So let's say Mike, right? Mike might want to sell his house. We get his address and we get his phone number or contact info, whatever that is. Maybe it's an email, but in our business, we just use phone numbers essentially. So this could be 123 Main Street. This could be 777-777. So now we have a prospect, right? If we're the McDonald's, we have traffic. We have people driving by our McDonald's sign, which is freaking amazing. So how do we, actually, here's what this is, right? After we have prospects, so before you have the McDonald's, right? Before you build the McDonald's, you got to figure out where to build the McDonald's. So you got to figure out where these prospects are, and you got to have prospects before you even build the McDonald's, right? So if a McDonald's is going to open up somewhere, they're probably going to open up somewhere where there's a lot of traffic, a lot of prospects, right? So for us, we have to go build the McDonald's. So we have our prospects now. We gathered this information. We have the seller's name, their address, and their phone number. Now we got to go build our McDonald's sign. So what do? We cold call. And we text these people. So we reach directly out to Mike, who owns 123 Main Street, at this specific number. and we have a conversation. And we say, hey, Mike, would you ever be interested in selling your property? We call them and ask this question, and we text them and ask this question. And we do this with thousands and thousands and thousands of prospects a week. So with us reaching out to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, a lot of people end up raising their hand and say, hey, yeah, I would sell my property. Something similar to like a lot of people driving by a McDonald's sign and being like, I would actually like a cheeseburger right now. So let me go pull into the driveway and see what I can get. So essentially, we cold call and text these people, like literally pick up the phone and call them. Like in the beginning, I was actually like hand dialing a lot of these people. And I would text them on my phone, leads that were already in my pipeline, right? Because in my business, I never did the prospecting. I never did the initial outreach. I always had something called a virtual assistant or a VA to do this for me, to have the conversation up to here. And then once they raised their hand and said, yes, I would sell, I would then act like the McDonald's drive-through, right? And I would be the person to take the order. So this right here, this initial outreach is such a simple conversation. It's literally, hey, would you ever sell your property? They say, yeah. Then you get a couple more things to qualify them as a lead. And once it's a lead, then you end up trying to convert the lead, but we'll go down that road in another video. But we're just talking about leads. How do we get these leads in the pipeline? Literally, it's so simple. You get the prospect's information. This is all the information you need. You need their name, you need their address, and you need their phone number. To be honest, you actually don't even need these two. You can have a conversation and just say, hey, would you ever sell your house? Got it. And then ask for their name and ask for the address. But it helps to have their name and their address going into the conversation. So in my business right now, I have virtual assistants cold calling and texting these people all the time. Now, my virtual assistants have never hand dialed people. They always had something called a dialer. So what is this dialer? This dialer is essentially somewhere where you can put all your prospects, all their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, and you just press a button and it calls them like consistently. It's calling like 3 people at a time, and it's consistently calling them throughout the day. Like you literally just have to push a button and it will call them automatically without you having to hand dial on your phone, because we're calling thousands of people. So we wouldn't be able to do this with hand dialing on an iPhone. Right now, when I said that I used to hand dial myself, it was because I was only hand dialing the leads that were already generated from a dialer. So from the moment I started cold calling and texting, I always had a dialer. I always had a virtual assistant calling on a dialer. That's how I started. And then I got into the text blasting world. So the text blasting world is similar to the dialer, but here's what happens. Essentially, you put it into a software, you put all the prospects into a software, and you have a bunch of different types of texts that are sent out. And you just press a button, and literally those texts end up sending out to the prospects to their phone number. I'll go over what those texts can look like in another video, but essentially they're brief. They're just something like, hey, Mike, and you get somebody to answer, and then you ask them, hey, would you ever sell your house? And you have the conversation. Once they say, yes, I would sell my house, and you get them on the phone, and you get a little bit more information. So now you might be asking, well, what happens when somebody says yes? Like, how do I know that this is a lead? Well, one, they said yes, but 2, you need a little bit more information. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need, and here's the biggest one. I'm going to give the biggest one first. You're going to need their motivation. Why would they ever sell this property? That's the biggest thing. Second thing you need is their price. Third thing you'll need is their timeline. Fourth thing you need is a condition. If all four of these are screaming motivated sellers, this is a hot lead. You need to get this over to a closer, somebody to convert the lead into a contract. So in our business, we have a filtering process where we filter out all these things. But essentially, in my business, alls that makes a lead is two things. One, they obviously said that they want to sell their house. But two, here, if there's interest in selling and they said that they would sell for some sort of particular reason, these three don't matter. They'll stay in our system until these three check out, whether that's a year down the road or 30 days down the road. And then once all these four are ready, they get submitted to a closer, and a closer converts that into a contract, and then we end up making money. So this, in my particular business, we do probably 80% of our deals like this. Literally all virtual assistants calling on prospects, seeing if they'd be interested in selling their house, figuring out why they would sell their house. And then it gets submitted to our closers, and our closers close the deal and we get paid. This is how simple it is. And I really wish that somebody did a video like this, and there probably was, maybe I just didn't find it. But when I was starting, I didn't really get it broken down to me like this simple. So what was I doing? I just knew that I needed leads because I had multiple businesses before. And I knew that, hey, I can't make money unless I got somebody that wants my service. So I knew I needed to prospect and generate leads. I just didn't know how easy it was. So I was literally doing every type of lead generation possible until I found a virtual assistant and realized how easy it was to generate leads. Literally, I got a virtual assistant, and I think it was probably the first day that I hired her, I had leads in my pipeline. So that's how simple this business can be. If you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit subscribe. Please hit the like button. You know what it does? It actually puts this video out more to the universe, so more people get value, right? The more people that get value, the more deals that are being done. The more deals that are being done, the more opportunities for you guys to get your hands on deals. So please like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all so much. I hope this was helpful. You guys are going to see more videos like this coming up in the past. Also, if you guys just want to connect with me, shoot me a DM on Instagram at the Mike Gomes, and let's connect and do deals together. Yo, this business is super simple. And in the beginning, I made it super complicated, but it doesn't have to be. I appreciate y'all.